Difficulties. We're trying to get you a video here on Kugel, and I'm just going to tell you we've had a couple such technical difficulties. We're going to start all over again. I've got one assembled here, and we're going to assemble a second one. What is Kugel? In my estimation of what this is, the closest thing we can say is it is like a Jewish bread pudding, except for the base is not bread, the base is cooked noodles. And what I'm doing today is I'm making two recipes, but I'm making half recipes, okay? And I'll explain to you. Each recipe calls for about 12 ounces of egg noodles. That's way too much for our household. So I've divided the 12 ounces into 6-ounce portions, and I'm making one sweet and one savory, okay? Quickly, I'll tell you the ingredients that we have, and when I tell you the ingredients, it's going to be the total recipe. You can divide it in half like I have. This is a half portion again. What I'm giving you will end up being double this, so keep that in mind. We've got 12 ounces of medium or wide egg noodles. Moshe said sometimes they're a little like that and sometimes they're about double it, right?
Yeah, I've seen them 50% to 100% larger in width. The name brands are in the U.S. would be Streits, S-T-R-E-I-T-S, Manischewitz, and Osem, O-S-E-M.
Okay, then we had 3 medium eggs, such as a Golden Delicious. You can use a Granny, whatever you use. If the skin is thick on the apple, peel it. If it's tender, leave it. We've got, I used 1/4 of a cup of butter. It calls for canola oil, but I used butter. I don't like canola oil. I've got 1/3 of a cup of dark raisins in there. I've got 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 4 large eggs in this recipe. Now, we're going to use this to talk about it. So you boil your eggs, your egg noodles, normal, and then after they're cooked, you pour the butter over them so they don't stick together, okay? Then you're going to peel and slice your apples over here. Going to peel and slice your apples, okay? And you've got your raisins, your sugar, your cinnamon. You can go ahead and put your raisins, your sugar, your cinnamon, your salt all together. And then once you get all your components together, then you're simply going to put everything into the noodles here. And you're going to mix it very, 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 very well. Use your hands. God made hands before He made cooking implements, and my hands are always clean for cooking. Then when you get it all mixed up, then you're going to bind it together with 2 beaten eggs, or possibly 3. If your eggs are small, 3 are okay, because you want to be able to fill it, but you don't want it to be dripping, because you want this to be, like, you don't want it to fall apart. You want to be able to slice it and cut it, just like bread pudding. You would skip it out.
Yeah, you should be able to cut a pie-shaped piece and hold it like a piece of pizza, and it won't fall apart.
Right.
That's not how you eat it. You put it on a plate and use a fork. But for the firmness, that's how it should be. Also, the Pyrex dish is typical of what was used in the Bronx 60 years ago and earlier.
Right, but you can. I've seen these cooked in a bundt pan, so that they're circular with, like a bundt cake or a coffee cake.
Yeah.
I've seen them cooked in an oblong Pyrex.
Yeah, well, in the old country in Russia, I'm sure they didn't have Pyrex.
Yeah. So that's that recipe. Now, in our next recipe, it's savory. It's a brown onion kugel. And I've got the noodles that we talked about, cooked the normal way, okay? And it has the 1/4 a cup of, it says canola oil or olive oil. I've got butter. You've got 3 medium onions here, okay, that have been caramelized. You cook them till they're transparent, and then use a teaspoon of sugar and cook them with the sugar to help them brown up. So that's there. And I've got salt and pepper here. And the quantities on that is 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 of pepper. And then for the whole recipe, you would have 4, okay, large eggs beaten. So we're going to just put this together really quick for you. Hang on. Now, the main thing we're worried about is getting our ingredients distributed evenly throughout the noodles. So this is my whisk. I'm just going to put that in there and whisk that around because I don't want pockets of onion. I want all the noodles to share the onions. See that? We don't want that. We want to mix it up there.
Now, you can use this on a hot day. You cook it and you put it in the refrigerator and you make it cold, and it's perfectly okay to serve it cold. Now, you can also in the winter have it cold, and then when the kids come in, that's our bird helping. And then when the kids come in and they're cold from, ice skating or whatever, right? You just heat it up without, killing it, and then serve it again.
So I'm just looking to make sure I don't have any large globs.
This is a carbohydrate-rich environment, this dish, so when the kids come in from playing ball in the cold weather or whatever, and they, need carbos, you got some protein from the eggs, and you got a reasonably large amount of carbohydrates here, not to worry. The kids will refuel on this, no problem. And it's tasty, too. It's all get up.
It's real tasty.
And you can use it as a one-dish meal, like for lunch, just...
You can, or a side dish.
Yeah, or a side. It doesn't matter.
So we got our 2 eggs here. And now I'm going to just look at this and make sure I've got plenty of eggs, because I did end up adding a 3rd egg for the other recipe. And I think because the onions are carrying a lot of liquid to them, I think we've got plenty. Alright, so these are both going to go in the oven, like I said, for 35 to 40 minutes, and then 350, and then after that I'm going to pull the foil off the top of both of them and continue to cook them for 15 to 20 until the tops look right, and we'll show you what the finished product looks like when we bring you back with the second video, because it's going to have to cook long enough. We just decided we would do a 2-part. This is the prep, and then the next one will be on the finished product. And this is the savory Kugel right there. And I'm just going to pack that in really good, so when I slice it, it's one piece, and cover it with foil, and it's going to go right in the oven.
The Kugel that I remember as a kid in the Bronx was the cinnamon and the apple. I don't remember the caramelized onion. And not that it didn't exist, that my family wasn't doing it.
The only thing I would say add is this is above the level of the rim of my Pyrex. I'm going to spray the top of the noodles with some Pam before I put the foil on, so it doesn't stick to the foil when I go to uncover it. But that's what we're going to do now, is going to cover it with foil and stick it in the oven. We'll be back.